Yo, yo, check. We're live for another StackerNews Monday. What is up? Yes, so for I think the fourth week in a row now, I'm here on StackerNews. If you don't know what StackerNews is, this is the homepage for Bitcoin, the front page for Bitcoin. It's essentially Reddit, but it is a Bitcoinized Reddit where instead of getting useless karma points, you get Bitcoin for posting and for getting popular posts, and you spend Bitcoin to upvote posts, to comment. So it's one of my favorite projects, something that I work on a little bit as an open source contributor, and I founded the devs territory here. It's what's called, and so this is basically a subreddit that I founded, and it's just for talking about everything devs. And so there's a lot of stories that fly through every week, and I don't have time to read them all. You can actually see which ones I've clicked on and which ones I've zapped. So I've clicked on almost none of these. So I like to get together on Monday and run through all the top dev stories. And there's usually a lot of gold in here, some unique events and stories that happen, but also just random bits of information that may have been lost in the past or may have been something you've never heard. So yeah, it's been pretty fun the last few weeks, and I'm gonna keep doing this. And so after this, I'm gonna be reading stories for about an hour, I think, and then I'm gonna be working on StackerNews itself and working on the Nostr cross-posting feature a little bit more. So a little bit of dev talk and then some live coding, and that is StackerNews Monday. So yeah, so man, I swear every week I come back, there's more stories, there's more posters, there seems to be more sats being zapped, more comments being made, so that's really cool to see. I don't spend a lot of time or money trying to market, trying to pump this up. I'm kind of just participating as you all are and hoping to get value out of it and hoping to send you sats when you share something valuable. So yeah, what's been really cool so far is that there's a lot of people posting from very, very new developers writing their first code, or maybe even just planning on learning their first programming language, something like that. And then we've got guys that have been coding since the 80s that are also commenting on here, and everything in between. So that's really cool to see. I have a special heart for the newer devs, and a lot of my content, the stuff I do, I guess, for the most part, tries to focus on newer developers. But yeah, devs will fit everything in between. So yeah, let's get into this. Let's start from the top and let's see how far we get. Sweet, so starting from the top, this is my story right here. Not much of a story. This is just really me sharing my latest workshop. So this is building your first Lightning app. And I just did this workshop on Friday, I think, at BitBlock Boom live. And that was really cool and went well. But I decided to pre-record it first and have it for a YouTube video. So that's what this is. It's pre-recorded. And yeah, it will basically walk you through a very quick overview of Lightning, and it will set you up with a simple replit, basically an app inside of the web that will kind of give you a Lightning app template in a little Lightning Network development environment. So it was really fun to put it together, kind of difficult actually, but what I wanted to do is have a kind of a Lightning dev environment just sitting on the other side of a URL that you could just click the run button and then start spinning up some Lightning nodes and then interfacing with them as an app developer. So it went pretty well, and I hope for those of you all that are trying to build your first Lightning app, you get something valuable out of it. Yeah, so that was cool, so check that out. Thanks for the people that watched it. Okay, let's get into the real first story here. So I love this first one I'm seeing. What's the best advice for a beginner programmer? This is from Milo Dev. Okay. Me, learn as much as you can, write as much code as you can, but don't lose yourself in programming. Okay, so Milo here he's sharing his advice. It's a great career that has to be complemented with hobbies and passions. Don't burn out. And he posts this meme of the beginner at the crossroads between Java and C++. I would never lead you to those crossroads, I promise that. Okay, short but sweet. Thanks for sharing, Milo. Let's see what some of the people are saying down below. Marlson PL, let's zoom in here a little bit. If you only know Java and C++, learn some Lisp. It's a life-changing experience. In fact, if you come across a language that looks weird to you, learn it and absorb its ideas. They probably look weird to you because you're looking up the power continuum. Also, learning new languages gives you the advantage of the Python paradox. Okay, so he's linking to 2 articles here, and I can see these are 2 Paul Graham blog posts. Keon is proud. I've never read these before, and I don't have time to read all of these. Beating the averages, Python paradox. In a recent talk, I said something that upset a lot of people, that you could get smarter programmers to work on a Python project than you could to work on a Java project. I didn't mean this by that Java programmers are dumb. I meant that Python programmers are smart. It's a lot of work to learn a new programming language, and people don't learn Python because it will get them a job. They learn it because they genuinely like to program and aren't satisfied with the languages they already know. Interesting, so this is from August 2004. So I feel like the context has changed a little bit. I meant that Python programmers are smart. It's a lot of work to learn a new programming language, and people don't learn Python because it will get them a job. They learn it because they genuinely like to program. So I guess nowadays, and literally 20 years later, this was probably Python 1 actually, I disagree with the sentiment. People definitely learn Python to get them a job, but they also learn it because they like to program. But I would also argue that people learn Python because they don't like to program. Because Python it's so easy to look at, it's so easy to just pick up and start running with and get new iterations on your code without worrying about a lot of the overhead that, a language like Java or C++ would throw your way. The overhead of dealing with memory and types, stuff like that. Not that those are bad things, those are very good things, but especially for newer developers, something like Python or something like JavaScript without types is a good way to just get their hands dirty and start building projects very quickly. But interesting advice to learn some Lisp, and I like what he says here. If you come across a language that looks weird to you, learn it and absorb its ideas. They probably look weird because you're looking up the power continuum. And I guess that's just a way to say you're looking at something that has a genius idea at the heart of it, and you don't understand it. So that's usually an indication of something worth looking deeper into. So you get a zap, you get some zaps. Okay. Great advice. I learned a lot by hobby programming in Lisp. Starting out, I think devs should wrestle with the ethics of turning every human function into software, giving away ambiguity at the throne of efficiency, because there's a good and evil tension within the work that is going a little too unnoticed for my comfort. Interesting. From Pleb Poet. I'd love to read a long-form post about this, since there's a lot that can be said. On the spectrum of antibiotics to gambling, or whatever might be on the other end, where does software sit ethically? I'll write long for about, but it'll be hard because I have to figure out what I mean. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I will say that I think that very few people just start to learn how to program because they're bored. Usually there's a desire at the heart of it. Maybe it's a desire for yourself or a desire to build something that you think should be in the world. And in a lot of ways, I mean, to go on this journey, often for people, I think it starts as like an ethical ideal, something they want to do, something they want to see or be in the world. And that's the kind of driver, I mean, it takes to go deep into programming and development, I think, unless you're just a complete natural. This picture would be even better when both paths merge in the distance, just to fork in even more paths. Nice. Small iterations. I agree with that. Write tests. Like in any field or sport, you need to practice Java or C++. Try both. Then go deep on one you feel more comfortable. Keep pushing, keep building, keep learning. Simply Stacker. Don't only write code for your employer. Also work on projects that inspire and motivate you, even if you're not getting paid for it. Yeah, that is super important. Even if you do get a programming job, if you're trying to learn, you're very quickly, in the first few months, you're gonna learn a lot, a little bit too much. And then your learning curve is just gonna drop and drop and drop because you're gonna be doing a lot of the same. And so it's hard to keep working and pushing yourself in your free hours, but this is where just that genuine interest and that passion comes into play. Something you wanna build, something you wanna learn. Yeah, good advice. Write lots of code attempting to do things slightly beyond your current skill level. Yes, that is good advice. Something that they told me in my boot camp is they drew kind of 3 circles, like an internal circle, a middle circle, and then an outer circle. And the internal middle circle is the comfort zone. And then there's the discomfort zone. And then there's the panic zone, right? And so these are kind of the zones you might be in when you're building something. And so it's really easy to remain in the comfort zone all the time and not really push yourself. But you want to get into that discomfort zone. You're pushing yourself a little bit. You're at your limits. You're needing to try new things and learn new things. But then you don't want to go too far, and that's the panic zone, where you're just completely out of your league and you don't even know how to find what you need to do. And you just get emotionally devastated and frustrated, and you think you're an idiot, and then you stop programming for 3 days or something like that. So that's kind of how I think about that, and it's good advice. And I find really a lot myself. I love staying in the comfort zone with what I'm building, and so it's definitely something that you have to continually push on. Learn as you go. Pick up a project and learn how to get it done doing it. Remember that the simple rule: first make it work, then make it good, and at last make it fast. Also remember, JavaScript runs on virtually everything. Hint, hint. First make it work, then make it good, then make it fast. That's good advice. This is usually, I usually do for my workshops that I make for PlebDevs. I usually do the first 2 steps. Usually not the last step, make it fast, but first I just try and make it work. It's a little bit ugly, it's a little bit pudgy, but then it works, and I'm like, yes, screw this, I hate this, I'm gonna run away from it. And then I come back the next day, and it still works, and then I'm like, all right, let's rewrite some of this code, let's make it a little more simple, a little more pretty. So it's a good process. Okay, if you want to become a professional software engineer, you need to understand what your role is in a business. Software engineers are there to solve business problems with code as their tool. Focus on the business problem and the value it would bring when solved. In terms of coding, code writing, fix technical debt as soon as possible. Don't build new features until your debt is paid. That's good advice, but man, when you are working in a business, it's usually the opposite. It's very hard to fix technical debt as you're still building new features. But nonetheless, this is a really good framing right here. Solve business problems with code as their tool. Something that some people, they naively just, want to start coding to code. They want to start coding to get a job in tech or something like that. But people that come to coding with a problem, or maybe they come from a different domain, maybe they come from marketing or sales or, some domain of business, usually they make their way quicker to solving business problems because they're so focused on, and they're framing all the code that they're learning by what problem will this help me solve. And this is why you see people that are not devs, they're no coders, or they just use ChatGPT for coding, and they're just business people and entrepreneurs, and build apps all the time, or ship apps that people find valuable. So yeah, taking on that framing of solving problems and what are people's problems and what kind of problems can you solve with code. It's good advice from GD. Others have given great advice. I would also co-sign. One thing I would add is prioritize positions / jobs at companies where you can. Learn from others versus simply which job pays the most sats. Prioritize learning over earning in the beginning. It will pay off later. If I could go back, I would have moved to an agency job much sooner. It ramped up my knowledge and confidence so much faster. Sweet. Yeah, so that's definitely something to consider. I mean, when I was trying to get my first programming job, it was literally anything I could get. I'll do it and I'll learn something. But from there, once I secured the job and I was there for 6 months, it was like, okay, now I'm kind of in the industry. I could probably get another job, but I wanted to work on Bitcoin. I wanted to learn more about Bitcoin. And so I very, very much narrowed my job search, and I narrowed what I was building in my free time to kind of build up my portfolio and get into that position that I wanted to, that I thought would accelerate my learning and what I'm trying to achieve. So yeah, I definitely echo that. I mean, if I were to share my thoughts for, best advice for a beginning programmer, I would say this is how I approached it. Build, back up, actually, learn, push, reference. Okay, so this is kind of the process that I like to go through. So, and then repeat. So I like to learn 2 to 3 concepts. Build something using those concepts. Push it to GitHub, back it up. Reference for later, when you need to reuse those concepts, and then repeat, right? So this is what I like to do, not taking on too many new ideas at once, learning 2 to 3 concepts, immediately building something using those concepts. I push it up to GitHub and back it up. I now have it saved forever. And then I can reference that for later when I need to reuse those concepts or code. And then repeat indefinitely. And this is kind of the fastest iteration loop that I find. When I was first trying to learn how to program, I thought that you were supposed to memorize the entire language, essentially, or memorize most of it. And that's how most developers work. But actually, it's almost the opposite. You almost don't want to memorize the language, and you want to memorize concepts. These higher level, more abstract concepts. And then you could just Google the syntax of the language if you're forgetting something. Or even better yet, maybe you've done it in the past and you can just go find that reference and be like, how's this thing work again? Oh yeah, okay, I see. This is how it works. And then here's this code, and this code works. And then you can reuse that. And so this really will save your RAM and your brain, and will just allow you to continue learning, continue building, but not losing that context and losing that information along the way. Sweet. Okay, let's move on. So, reading top dev stories. This was my post for last week, so we'll skip that. How do search engines work? It's a cool graphic from Azik. Azik is he's sharing all of our just random how does this thing work stories. So shout out to Azik or Azik. Step 1, crawling. Web crawlers scan the internet for web pages. They follow the URL links from one page to another and store URLs in the URL store. The crawlers discover new content, including web pages, images, videos, and files. Okay, so it's kind of like you're writing a script to go to this website. This is your starting point. and then find every single link on it and then go to that website and then onward and onward. And you're saving all of these URLs and I guess some other context here and indexing along the way. Once a web page is crawled, the search engine parses the page and indexes the content found on the page in the database. The content is analyzed and categorized. For example, keywords, site quality, content freshness, and many other factors are assessed to understand what the page is about. Okay, so that's cool. So they take in all of the information, they index it, and they kind of run it through these sort of middlewares, it seems, to sort of assess it in different ways. So that's cool. And then we rank. Search engines use complex algorithms to determine the order of search results. These algorithms consider various factors, including keywords, page relevance, content quality, user engagement, page load speed, and many others. Some search engines also personalize results based on users' past search history. And then finally, querying. When a user performs a search, the search engine sifts through the index to provide the most relevant results. Cool graphic here. It's crawler, page repository, so we save it to the database. Parser. Is that supposed to say parser? Praiser? I'm not sure what that means. I'm gonna assume it's parser. Indexer. Take the indexed page, you rank them. Ranked page, and then the query, the user queries for that and gets that back. Sweet. Uh-oh. We reusing content over here? Seems so. Either way, I'm happy to read it. I steal people's diagrams all the time. But yeah, cool. So one thing I've heard is that the original Google search engine algorithm was essentially, so they did the crawlers, and I don't know if they did the indexing, but essentially how they ranked pages was just by how much a URL was referenced on other pages, right? So how many times has plebdevs.com been put in on other websites? That would determine my ranking in this original kind of bare bones algorithm. So I guess their criteria there was like, whoever is referenced the most probably has the best content. And so that's what will surface. Versus search engines before that, I think they used keywords or something like that to determine rank. I'm not sure how they worked before that. But cool story. How do search engines work? Okay. After a week of blood, sweat, and tears, finally my trading bot is back online by PlebDevs. Build a server, set the environment, deal with security, debug Binance WebSocket errors. I was a lot smarter when I built this back in 2019 than I am now. So someone's trading bot here that they're trying to maintain. If your trading bot has been up since 2019 and you're not poor, then you must be doing something right. So I used to, trading bots was definitely, that was something that I was interested in when I was first wanting to learn how to program. Of course, it sounds a lot better on paper than it actually works. But it seems to be working well for PlebDevs. I can't totally tell, but I built something very similar, I think, operating on the Gemini exchange, buying and selling corn, making a small profit on each trade, based on the fluctuation of the price. I made a fair amount of profit, but the bookkeeping was a royal pain. I think I made over 13,000 trades in one calendar year. Damn. WebSocket breakages and breaking changes in their API convinced me to shut it down after all my pending orders closed. Whew, yeah. Man, that would make me so nervous to like put money behind a bot that's just running on a server, trading on exchange. Oh my gosh, that would stress me out. Very nice, but why trade when you can simply invest? I used to run bits using 3 commas, but buy and hold ultimately turned out to be better for me. I used to run bits using 3 commas. I'm not sure what that is, but it kind of seems like he's saying he ran a bot just to stack I guess it could price points, like do his DCA with a little more strategy, perhaps. But cool. Shout out to MiloDev, got the bot back up. Don't get wrecked, my friend. Okay, Gen Z software engineers, according to older colleagues. Uh-oh. So there's an article here. So higher expectations for salary, promotions, and benefits. A lack of corporate loyalty among young colleagues is noted positively by some respondents. Okay. Senior leadership distrusted, demand for transparency. So these are, I guess, some insights from the article. So values, what do the Gen Z devs value? Higher expectations, harder to retain, distrust in senior leadership, outspoken comms, and their knowledge higher up in the stack, so less systems level programming. I think 3 commas is a trading bot framework from what I remember. Never used it. 3 commas. Crypto trading bot, automated, altcoin, Bitcoin. Yeah. Choose your plan. Oof. Yeah, I was playing around with a trading bot in like literally 2018 or something called Gecko, and that was the only one I used. And I think I did like 3 trades and like lost like 3,000 sats, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm scared. So their knowledge is higher up the stack. They love bleeding edge. Okay, so they like new and shiny. They get stuck more easily. They learn differently. The pragmatic engineer. Yeah, there's a lot to say here. I mean, I think that in general, I wouldn't say this is Gen Z because I kind of relate to this as well. That I have less trust in leadership. I have less loyalty to almost any company I've worked at. Higher expectations for salary, promotions, and benefits. I wouldn't say I have higher expectations by any means, but yeah, I mean, you know, with inflation, with everything that has changed in the industry, I feel that probably the Gen Z people are a little bit deranged about the job world. They're distrusting. They feel that they're not getting what they need to live out of it. And so I guess from that perspective, I could see some kind of validity to this. But then there's just the other easy perspective to say that, you know, Gen Z is lazy and dumb. Saying we don't really want to stick around. If there's a cooler project, I want to be there. Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, you know, you want to feel like you're always working on something that's exciting or important or relevant to you, and that kind of shifts and changes. You know, like something I've thought before is like if you have a really good dev on your team, and maybe they're just doing something just like kind of holding the ship down. Maybe they're a backend dev or something like that, DevOps engineer. You want them to be doing other stuff on the side that excites them, and you want to reward them for that. At least that's what I think. That's what I would do if I was like an engineering manager, because I would just say, like, you know, keep yourself interested, keep yourself engaged with just programming in general and learning your field more, because otherwise you're just going to get burned out and bored and you're going to go do something else anyway. But like if I'm supporting you with your learning and your side projects and everything, then you're more likely to stay because you're being nourished in multiple ways. So, but interesting. Okay, let's see what this says. Throw you a few more zaps. Oliver Weiss. So this inspired me to respond because it feels like an attack. Maybe it's not. Okay. Higher expectations. Why not? People are getting paid. Why not be one of them? That's true. You know, what is the difference between having entitlement and just wanting to earn more money? Harder to retain. See the previous point. There's no reason to stick in the same place because old, outdated promotion processes are ridiculous. There's no more pensions. What do you get for loyalty? Usually nothing. Yeah, and I'll say this, that like layoffs, I don't know if layoffs were the same with older generations, but nowadays, like, you can be an absolute killer in your company, in your startup or whatever. You can do great, everyone can love you, but the moment that it makes sense for you to be cut off for whatever reason, whether you're being replaced by someone younger and cheaper, or your job is getting automated away or something like that, their loyalty to you goes to zero, right? And they're just gonna cut you off on a complete whim. So it's always worth keeping that in mind, and that's just like a sad reality. And it has people working at companies kind of playing for themselves and like keeping their cards close to their chest because they know that they can get axed at any moment. So distrust in senior leadership. What have they done to earn my trust? Usually they've done things in the other direction. Outspoken comms, this seems to be in line with the others. The old guard seemingly didn't speak up and just took what they were given. Is it wrong to speak up when you're dissatisfied on any front? I think not. Yeah, exactly. And if you're a good, like, I don't know, founder or just someone that cares about the operations of your company or whatever, you'd want to hear this feedback. You'd want to hear the truth, and you would want to consider it, even if maybe you don't agree with it, or the person giving you the feedback is being irrational about it. Okay, higher up in the stack, meaning younger engineers aren't as familiar with some of the lower levels of the stack. I suppose that's fair, but it's also probably biased based on where you work, what you work on, who you work with. But also it's the nature of the industry to build on top of solid building blocks. Should I be chastised as an engineer because I don't know how to re-implement TCP? Exactly, that's a good point. You know, we have this acronym in programming called DRY. DRY, do not repeat yourself. And this is just an idea of like, why would I write software myself that someone else has written that's probably better, that probably understands it more than me? Now, depending on what I'm doing, I might need to have complete, full understanding of that software and, you know, dig deep into it and maybe modify it or something like that. But if I'm just implementing like a markdown form or something like that on the front end, for example, well, markdown forms have been done a million times. Do I really need to understand and re-implement it completely? Like, no, I just need it to work for my use case. So yeah, that's an interesting point there. So loves bleeding edge. I do think this has become a thing, and I'm not quite sure if it should be. Innovation is really important, so trying new tech is also really important. It's how you learn what works and what doesn't, and it's also how you improve from past failures and mistakes. But that doesn't mean something older is bad. The things that stick around usually stick around for good reason. Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, when you're a newer dev, especially like the new and shiny things, they offer more leverage to you. They offer a better experience. So a lot of times that's why they're attractive, but the tried and true foundations are always worth understanding because I think in a sense they give you more leverage than a new fancy tool that you don't understand. So that's a good point there. So get stuck more easily. Maybe this is true in general, but you can't apply that to everyone. I mean, I would say with ChatGPT now, like the young devs are really good at using it. But, you know, maybe that actually degrades your, on average, for a lot of people, maybe actually degrades your debugging skills. Learns differently. I don't know how the older generations learned, so I can't really compare. Yeah, this was kind of a weird one to put, learns differently. Like, I mean, yeah, newer devs, they might learn on YouTube, ChatGPT, or whatever, and they're using different tools, whereas someone that learned in the 80s and 90s, they probably just read a book or went to school, like that was the only options, and then got their hands dirty, of course. Plot in the chat says, almost you can make a case for some of these front ends are essentially memes. Yeah. Yeah, no, that is true. So I know, for example, oh my gosh, where was this? npm, it is even. Okay, so this is a good example of this, I think, if I understand what you're saying. So this is a library that someone made in JavaScript to tell you if a given number is even. And you can see this gets 167,000 weekly downloads. So this is the kind of thing where, yeah, when you're disconnected from the fundamentals, you might just be adding libraries and adding dependencies and just kind of blindly taking other people's code and using it, when in all reality, this is something that you can do in one line of code very easily. So that's a funny example I love to return to. Okay, great comment. We're all Satoshi. I'll give you a bunch of zaps for that. Love your perspective there. Not an attack from my side. I'm a software engineer, but I find myself in the article too. Sweet. Okay. Nice. So Gen Z software engineers. Where are we next? Okay, show SN. I made a simple price calculator to test out Svelte. This is from David N. And we've got his GitHub here. Let's check it out. Sats calculator. Nice looking page, nice readme. Everyone gets the urge to see the value of their stack at certain prices. This is a simple app that lets you see the value of an arbitrary amount of Bitcoin at custom price points. You can also get the most recent price from the blockchain API and calculate the value of your stack based on that. Very cool. I've written like a single Svelte app like 2 years ago or something. I don't think it was Svelte Kit. So I haven't done Svelte in a while, but I would love to pick it up and like try and do a simple workshop on it. Routes, lib, page.svelte. Is it, should I say Svelte? Svelte sounds cooler, but I think all the pros call it Svelte. Index scripts. Calculated. Sats per BTCs from Svelte store. Sweet, so it seems like he has a simple calculation function. He's taking in the data, and then the user inputs the data on the front end here, it looks like. Is there a deployment for this? Yes, satscalculator.app. Looks very nice. So price 64,000, value. So let's say I'm a pleb, I have 100,000 sats. It would be good for you to implement like auto comments on here as I'm typing out a bunch of zeros, since it's in sats. 64,390, value 64. But then I can change this and I can say, okay, I'm a pleb, I only have 100,000 sats right now, it's worth $64, but once we're at, what is that? 6,600,000. Oh my gosh. I need to add comments here. That's not right. Okay, this is 64 million. So at 64 million, we'll have $64,000. Not bad. Okay, cool project. David N. Nice. Keep sharing your work. I love to see it. Give you hella zaps here. Let's go. It's nice. Good job. Keep it up. Here's the deployed web app. Made this simple prices calculator so that I can test out Svelte and Tailwind CSS. I'm really liking these tools so far, especially Svelte. I've always found React a little unintuitive and Vue.js a little bit clunky. However, I find that Svelte combines the best of both worlds. The simple syntax of Vue with the modularity of React. Nice, that's a good pitch. I agree that React is a little bit unintuitive at first, and it's mainly how they teach things and how the terms that they put things in. I was definitely so confused at first, and then once I actually understood it, I was like mad. I was like, why did you explain this to me so retarded? You know, that's why I like to go back and, you know, make this education stuff and explain it myself, because I feel that it's actually pretty simple, but a lot of times it's just wrapped up in these fancy terms. Okay, shout out to you, David. Keep building. In which year did you write your first program? It's a great question. This chart, nostalgia of first line of code, memory of first program. 1, 5, 10 years. It remains the same. Nim says, about 25 years ago using COBOL. I thought it was COBOL. C-O-L-B-O-L. Am I wrong? COBOL programming. COBOL. Oh man, I've been saying it wrong. Yeah, people, this is an old programming language. I remember a few years back, a bunch of banks had old infrastructure running on COBOL, and there was like no COBOL engineers in the world, so they were like trying to get new devs to learn it. Dead Beef says 2004 using VB6. Even thought .NET was a thing by then, or even though .NET was a thing by then. What is VB6? VB6 programming? Visual Basic. Oh, of course. I dropped out of college because they wanted me to learn Visual Basic, and I did not because I wanted to build Bitcoin apps. Yeah, COBOL devs are expensive. Yeah, I mean, well, jumping back to our earlier point, you know, there's something to knowing a lot of foundations. And obviously, if COBOL is still running on a bunch of bank software, it must be good, right? I mean, I don't know. 1982 basic, saved to a cassette tape drive. Yeah, I'm that old. That is badass. I didn't know. Man, I want a cassette of some software. Can I get like a Doom cassette? Like Doom implemented in like C on a cassette tape? That would be badass. If a calculator program counts from 2000, says Keon. I've heard a lot of people that got their programming start on like T9 calculators. That's cool. And a lot of people on MySpace as well. And then Chaotical Heavy, the legend here says 1973 with Fortran. Holy shit. What the F happened in 1973? Fortran. I want to see what Fortran looks like. Fortran is a natively parallel programming language with intuitive array-like syntax to communicate data between CPUs. Are you sure it's intuitive? Let's see what it looks like. Oh no, I just want to see. Open image, new tab. This looks kind of like, almost like SQL or something. It does kind of seem a little bit easy to read. Type, real, type, integer, contains, procedure, subroutine. Okay, that doesn't look horrible. All right, cool. Thanks for sharing, Milo. Good question. When I wrote my first program in 2018, and I think it must have been just Hello World in Python or something like that, because I was going through a Python course that I quit after like a week. I wish I would have started pushing to GitHub earlier. I made my first contribution is here in 2019. And I love that I did this. I just made a Hello World document because I was learning how to push to GitHub. I said, "Hello World, this is my first ever commit. Maybe one day I'll look back on this as experienced developer?" ? Oh, you naive fool. But yeah, that was my first GitHub commit. Maybe that would be another good question to ask. Share your first GitHub commit. I'll do that this week. Free Ask Internet, completely free, private, and locally running. Free Ask Internet. I like the name. It seems like an LLM maybe. So Free Ask Internet is a completely free, private, and locally, in all caps, running search aggregator and answer generate using multiple LLMs without GPU needed. User can ask a question and the system will make multi-engine search and combine the search results to LLM and generate the answer based on search results. It's all free to use. That seems really clever. So they're kind of querying the search engines. They're kind of using the search engines as, I guess, what would you say, like all the context, all the data, so they don't need to store and deal with that. And then just taking in the very limited results of that query and only processing that. That sounds cool. What is it written in? Python. Nice. Yeah, this is a good example of just like, man, talking about solving business problems earlier. This is something that's probably really simple program to make. I guess in some senses, the LLM part is probably the most complicated. But really just a server that does queries. And then we have search webref, generate prompt. Chat. Interesting. They are using OpenAI. How is it private and local if they're using OpenAI? I wonder. Do you need to put in do you need an API key? Confused. Completely free, no need for any API keys. Completely local, no GPU. Completely private. All things run locally. Runs without LLM hardware. Using free ChatGPT 3.5. No API keys needed. Thanks, OpenAI. Huh. Can you use the free ChatGPT 3.5 API without any API keys? But even then, is that like, does that count as private? Free ChatGPT 3.5 API? I don't know. How can I use ChatGPT 3 and free for a sample? Huh, page. Free ChatGPT. Do they have a reference to this? Free ChatGPT. Quinn, Kimmy. No, not server. I'm confused here. I feel like I'm stumbling on some false advertisement. Because how can you claim it's private? Chat, OpenAI base URL. Oh, this is a local host. If model is 3.5, then HTTP. Well, no, that's still hitting a server somewhere. Custom. Ask Internet. Yeah, I wish I had more details on how it communicates with the server. Screenshots, how it works. Okay, system gets user input in the UI running locally, and call seer xing running locally to make a search on multi-search engine. Crawl search result, links, content, and pass through the models by using custom LLM. Stream the answer to chat UI. We support custom LLM settings, so theoretically infinite LLM support. Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, that's a cool, like, simple kind of LLM use case. Okay, how do HTTP status codes work and which are most important? Yeah, some basic web dev stuff. I'm gonna skip that. Top Redis use cases. Apple Pay versus Google Pay. Reverse tunneling software. Let's check this out. Wholesale. Good TLD. Peer-to-peer tunnels for instant access. Create a P2P tunnels instantly that bypass any network firewall NAT restrictions and expose your local network to the internet securely. No dynamic DNS required. It's 100% free and open source. Okay, this sounds cool. So something I use quite a bit is in Grok. It sounds similar. And ngrok is also free and open source, but they now require you to basically like log in and create an account. But yeah, so they're basically getting a little bit more closed. But something I use for this a lot is like, I might have a Lightning node or a Bitcoin node running on localhost. And if I want an app to connect to it, that's maybe like somewhere else, or better yet, a server that's deployed, it needs to be talking to a global host and not a local host. And so ngrok is like an easy way to do that, but it seems like another kind of approach. Create network tunnels, secure your network bypassing you. Docs, blog, Discord, GitHub. Oh, where's the sign up button? Where's the sign up button? You don't need my name and my email and my taint size. This looks cool. I'll have to check this out. Docs. Let's look at their GitHub. Written in JavaScript. Uh-oh. npmi wholesale-g, wholesale-live port. Replace port with the desired port number you want to expose to the network. This will give you a seed to connect to. Use that to access the server from anywhere. Sweet, that looks damn simple. I'll have to try this sometime soon. Nice, thanks for sharing, rsync. Which one are you? If condition, return A, else return B. Return condition, true, A, else B. I like ternaries. So which one are you? Do you do if statement, or do you like to do ternaries? Well, I mean, for me, simply I like to use ternaries if there's only a single condition to check, and it doesn't get nested down. But as soon as conditions start to nest down, I would rather use if else. Oh wow, that's exactly what I put right here on April 9th. I like ternary for a one-off condition, but if else for anything that might get nested later down in the block of code. So yeah. Sweet. Stories I want to see here. Guide CI/CD, Netflix's tech stack, evolution of operations. No more, that's it for the week. Let's look at this. I'm curious about Netflix's tech stack. Yo, what's up? Wow, this is a lot. Okay, let's zoom in. Let's check this out. So DevOps, Jira, Confluence, Jenkins, Spinnaker. Yeah, I don't use a lot of DevOps tools, so I'm not sure about these. Mobile. So their mobile app is in Kotlin and Swift. Kotlin for Android and Swift for iOS. Front end is React, HTML, JavaScript. Okay. They use a GraphQL API. Their backend services, they have Spring Boot, that is Java, Netflix Zool, Netflix Eureka. I have no idea what those are. Databases, MySQL, Cassandra, EV Cache, and CockroachDB. What is Cassandra? Cassandra DB? Cassandra is a free and open source distributed wide column store, no SQL database management system. Okay, so maybe kind of like MongoDB. Tables. never heard of Cassandra. There's so many random DBs I don't know about. Messaging and streaming, they use Kafka, Apache Flink. Big data storage, AWS S3, Redshift. Cool. That is a lot. That is a lot of tech. But it makes sense. All right, shout out to Azik. Evolution of operations. Ops. Primordial. Protozoic. Born in the swamps of Pearl. Operates in a single cell silo. Surprisingly resilient. DevOps. A cross-functional marvel. Vastly increased agility. Secretly just a bunch of single cells that have learned to not kill each other. DevSecOps. More advanced, more paranoid. Security is automated right into its DNA. Knows shared responsibilities, the only escape from fossilization. DevSecMLOps. What even is this? Is it a fish with feet? We should probably leave it alone for a few million years and see what happens. Triceratops. Does not care about your org structure. Vulnerable only to direct meteor strikes. What are we talking about again? Wow, I know so little about DevOps. I've never heard of DevSecOps or DevSecMLOps. But they kind of make sense. Okay, there you go, Code Guardian. All right, sweet. I think that is basically all the top dev stories for the week. It's very cool. Thank you for everyone that is continuing to post, to comment, to ask good questions, and share your knowledge. Much appreciated. I will keep trying to do the same, and I will definitely keep coming back here on Monday and going through these. So thanks for the great content to look over. Sweet, so now is a good time to get into the live coding. So let's get started. Actually, I need to pull up my GitHub. StackerNews. And I've got it open here. Great, let's zoom in. Oh, that's too much. That should be good. Okay, we're done with the top devs. Okay, cool. So I am working on Nostr cross-posting specifically for replies today. Currently on StackerNews, any post type you can cross-post to Nostr. Except for jobs. Jobs is the only thing that you don't cross-post to Nostr right now. But you currently can't cross-post replies, and it's kind of a little bit of a interesting problem. Not too confusing. Plot Unknown asked, did you ever get an implementation of Hedgehog working? Well, I never tried to run it actually. I wanted to look over the protocol. Let's see what the latest is. Well, I guess here's a link to it. Where's the GitHub? GitHub.com/super testnet hedgehog. Yeah, it looks like nothing has been updated yet. Yeah, I mean, Super has his demo, basically HTML app here, but I haven't run it myself. Really, I still don't fully understand. What are they called? Revocable connectors, I think it was. Yeah, revocable connectors or revocable connectors. Yeah. But Super Testnet is coming to town in a few weeks, so maybe we can get a second look at Hedgehog and go over it. But yeah, I only really looked into the spec. I never implemented it. So waiting for someone to make the Shopify killer. Amazed why it hasn't taken someone so long to do it. Me either. I sort of get it though, pretty much an escrow service. Yeah, Yeah, Hedgehog, initially the announcement of it seemed to be something that could like totally change Lightning forever. But after looking into it more and talking with Super and hearing things from other people, it seems to have more of a limited use case. Mainly for 2 parties and mainly for when those parties might not be online. So I don't know what this would look like at a network-wide implementation versus just the Bob and Alice example. But yeah, these would be good questions for Super. And yeah, on the Shopify killer, I mean, I know we had a top builder here in Austin in PlebLab, and Shopster was one of the projects that was a part of Top Builder, and they made it to the final round. And so this is a pretty cool Noster marketplace, I guess a little bit like Craigslist. So it seems to be like on the product to product basis, but I guess with Shopify, that would be more like a platform. I set up a store versus just having individual listings. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think that's a powerful product. I mean, there's also BTC Pay Server, of course, which essentially gives you a Shopify store, but obviously you have to run the server. But yeah, I mean, BTC Pay Server is everywhere, so you can run it on a lot of different stuff. But okay, let's get into it. So I need to sync my fork first, because I have a fork StackerNews here, so I'm going to get caught up to master. Update branch. And then I will rebase. This branch is up to date with master. Sweet. Okay, and then I'll get pull master. Fatal master is not peer-to-peer repository. Get pull. I'm on master. Okay, cool. Yeah, Shopster's legit. It was a great team, and they're definitely moving fast. Okay, so my branch was already created. Cross post replies. Sweet. So I'm going to get rebase master. So I'm basically going to take, I had this branch already in progress, but I'm going to take all the latest changes from StackerNews and just implement them in my current branch and just make sure there's not any conflicts. So let's see. Cool. No conflicts. And then let's get push -F just to update this on the remote as well as the local. Cool. So we should be caught up. So I've got Docker desktop up here, and we have the new StackerNews dev environment, which is easier than ever. So I should be able to do /sndev start, and Docker environment will start to spin up. Hopefully it will just take a second here. Yeah, BTC Pay Server is like, it's so powerful. It's really insane. I mean, there's so many plugins. There's so much you can build on top of it. It definitely seemed like a small idea to me when I first encountered it, but over time I'm seeing how powerful it is. I mean, just this past weekend at BitBlock Boom, Rockstar was showing us the latest CoinJoin plugin in a BTC Pay Server, along with PayJoin. They've had PayJoin for a while. One of the only, I mean, BTC Pay Server isn't a wallet, but they're one of the only wallets or services that basically implemented PayJoin so far. So that's cool, and I want to dig into their CoinJoin implementation. Well, I guess it's not their implementation. It's the ability to like plug into another implementation. So it seems like you can plug into like a Samurai coordinator and then just participate from your BTC Pay Server. And they also have the option to run your own coordinator from your own BTC Pay Server. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, there's no pull request yet for this. I want to check out my branch though. Let's see what I did so far. So this was my commit before, checking if parent and root are cross-posted in order to render cross-post button on item info for reply. Okay, sweet. So yeah, basically the criteria for if a reply can be cross-posted to Noster, it needs to have it to where the parent, so the comment that you're replying to needs to have already been cross-posted. But then also the parent, so not the parent, the root, which is just the post itself, also needs to be cross-posted. And the reason for this is because, like, you don't want to reply. We don't want to cross-post a reply on a Noster that's replying to something that isn't already on Noster. So that's where this gets kind of confusing, because we want to make sure that the whole chain of replies all the way up is all on Noster, and that it will kind of render the same on Noster as it would on StackerNews. But yeah, that's the main consideration here. And besides that, like, yeah, I was able to get this condition working pretty simply. Come on, Docker. So actually what I'm gonna have to immediately do is I'm gonna have to create a post myself to kind of check this. Yeah, because I'm gonna need to do some tests here just to see how the button renders. And then we'll plug in a button to the cross poster, which will basically just format it into an event and then post it up to Noster. So that part's actually easy just because it's already built out. But first I need to make sure that, like, my criteria here is correct and correct in a bunch of different scenarios. So that's probably how I'll start. Okay, rerunning yet? Looks like it just about. So SNDev start, and we have SNDev login, SNDev fund and withdraw. Okay, let's see if we can pull up localhost 3000. Not quite yet. Oh, there's the migrations. So it should pop up here in a second. Yeah, I know it's a lot. There's a lot of images here in the StackerNews Docker Compose. A lot of services coming together, so it can take a while to start locally. But luckily, it's much easier now, thanks to the SNDev scripts. Okay, let's try this again. Nah, not quite. Okay, this would be it right here. Next dev, that's the command that spins up the front end. Okay, here we go. It'll take a second to load. But yeah, also, if you did not know, StackerNews is it's a pretty friendly project to contribute to, and they are actually doing bounties now for contributors. So that's pretty cool. So you can get paid even a small amount for a small contribution. Yeah, difficulty awards or amount. So pull request awards, PRs closing an issue will be rewarded according to the difficulty tag. For example, difficulty easy pays 100k sats. An award is reduced by 10% of the award amount for each substantial change requested on the PR on code review. This is a really cool game theory, I think, because, you know, you can get paid for, you know, opening a PR for these issues, but the more that it kind of has to go back around and have iterations on it, the less rewards you're going to get. So it really incentivizes you to try and have the best first iteration of, well, I mean, not first iteration, but make sure that your pull request has the best possible code, that you can't make it any better, so you can get the maximum reward. So it's very cool. a few weeks ago on stream, before my stream even finished, I pushed a PR to StackerNews, and before my stream finished, it had gotten merged and I had gotten paid. But don't expect it to be that fast all the time for you. Uh-oh, did we have an error? Common Go error. Stacker CLN, channel cron. Something going wrong here? Let's make sure all our containers are running. We've got capture and worker are not running yet. Let me manually start these. Just see if that will work. Okay. Container app is unhealthy. Everything is still running. Let's just try and do our start command again. So everything should be cached, so it's pretty quick. Container is unhealthy. Let's try one more time. I think I had run into this problem before, and I think I fixed it by just trying again. Wait for it all to stop. Okay. Yeah, sometimes the problem that's harder than any bug is just getting the local environment running. Going a lot quicker now. Capture and worker are exiting. This might also be my fault because I did pull down the latest code, but this Docker Compose is already here for a while. So maybe there's a conflict there. Just give this one more chance. I don't think I'm using any other ports right now, so that shouldn't be an issue. Okay, we'll just give it another minute. Fatal detect dubious ownership and repository at app. Okay, localhost 3000, let's see. Okay, everything's running except for capture. I'm not sure what capture does here, but let's see if our homepage renders. This is the channel handler, so hopefully that shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, I'll be sure to get this running before I start streaming next time. Sorry about this. Still loading. Let's just try and start up capture here. Okay, so it also had to reindex the database here, it looks like, so that definitely take a while. Oh, cool, okay. We are here, wow. Okay, it took a few tries, so I guess that's something to do if you run in the same problem. Just stopping it and starting it up again helped. All right, I think everything is good now. So let's fund our Anon account here. I need to SnDev log in. So I'll open up a new terminal. Oh, login is a NIM. So we'll say, let's say Austin. Sweet. So I'll be able to log in locally here with kind of a fake account, and then I'll actually be able to fund it locally with, I think, testnet, maybe regtest. Oh, they have LND and CLN fund. Withdraw, that's cool. Cool. I'm logged in now. Let's go fund our wallet. So we're gonna create an invoice here. Let's do 21, whatever that is, something like 21 million sats. Oh wait, of course, they have a limit, so 250, 123,000. Generate invoice. LNBCRT, I believe that is LNBCRT. I think that's regtest. Okay, so now I can do /SnDev fund, and then I'll paste my bolt 11. Confirm payment, yes. Cool. And I had a fee limit 12,500. Succeeded. And where's our balance? Payment hash, pre-image. Still polling here. It has to, if this is regtest, it does have to mine a few blocks, but that should be pretty instant. Let's refresh. Okay, I got it here. Sweet. No, that's okay. All right, let's make a post here. And we'll just do discussion, and we're gonna call this post test. Just do it into Bitcoin. Post test. Test. Okay, and so I'm gonna click this cross post to Noster button here. Make sure I'm on one of my fake accounts. Choose Phil. Cool. Should be good. So Phil is gonna cross post this. Okay, looks good. Confirm. Cool. And then we can go and click on the Noster note right here. This will open up a new browser. find it. Master.band. This is a consistent problem that I can't really find the solution to, is finding these notes sometimes. Because I mean, by default, we're cross-posting them to a ton of relays, including the Mutiny Blaster relay. So it should be going far and wide, but then finding the note doesn't always work because we're using in address, include low quality content search. It also doesn't help that I'm using this like super fake account. So let's log in as our guy Phil. Sign in. Extension as Phil. Profile notes. Okay, here we go. Post test. So we see it here. We'll render it here. Okay, cool. Okay, so that should be good. So now I need to make sure, well, I can reply on my own. Yeah, I can reply on my own item. So I actually might do that. So can I cross post this reply? And then I've got cross post to Noster. Sweet. So that shows up correctly. But so far this reply is not cross posted. So if I reply again, but its parent is. So this is valid to cross post, but if I comment again and say this one should not. Okay, great. But now if I cross post this reply, invalid event. Okay, well, we haven't fully plugged this in, so that's probably why. Okay, but that's looking good so far. And I can cross post this at any time. It doesn't have to be in the edit window. Yeah. Okay, sweet. Let's dive into the code. So into use cross poster. So this has all of our cross posting logic. Pull to event, bounty to event, discussion to event, link to event, pull to event, bounty to event. Okay, cool. So I need a reply to event. Sync. Okay, and so this reply is going to be a kind one. And let's see. Sorry, I lost audio there for a second. Okay, so it's going to be a kind one. So content is going to be item.text. We have created at. And then, okay, we don't need any of these tags except we're going to have an e tag, I believe, because we're going to be referencing an event. Let's go to our spec here. So nips 1. It should actually be in the description here. Okay, event kinds and standardized tags. So event, pub key, coordinates to event identifier. So it should just be the e tag here. Each tag is an array of strings, blah, blah. So it's a reply to this event. The e-tag is used to refer to an event with a optional URL or a relay. Used to refer to another user. A tag is used to refer to a maybe parameterized replaceable event. Okay, so this is important. This is good because our most of our events that we cross-post here on Noster are parameterized replaceable. It says maybe parameterized replaceable event. Okay, for a parameterized replaceable event, use a of kind 32 by lowercase hex. For non-parameterized replaceable event, use a of kind lowercase fx of pub key. Okay, so this is good. This is another consideration that we're gonna have. Not only am I gonna need the, actually the item should have the parent in it. Which item? Yeah, so that should be right. Let's go ahead and let's comment this out and let's say return null for right now. And I just want to console log item and I want to see what fields we have in our item. And let's find where we put this in. Case poll, case reply. Okay, and that should all just like plug in and work. And then from the component, I believe I call use cross poster. How do I do this? So let's go to item info. This is where that cross post to Noster button is. So let's just see exactly how we call that. Cross post drop down item. Noster node. Cross post drop down item. Okay. So this is a component that we're rendering, passing the item in. This component has cross poster, use cross poster, handle cross post click. Okay, so that's pretty easy. And then we pass in the item ID. Sweet, so this should be able to try this right now. Let's refresh. Can I cross post this reply? Okay. Let's open up console. I'll zoom in a bit too. Error cross posting invalid event. Error invalid. Cross post error. So what's happening here? Cross post, because cross post signed event. Ooh, I don't think I'm determining the item type correctly. That's probably what's happening. Event creation. Here we go. Okay, so type map. Otherwise, we return discussion. So, yes. Let's see what the item looks like here. Let's do it again. Okay, cool. Get the item. So how do we know if it's a reply? I believe we want to see a parent ID. Is there anything about reply? Like, is reply? Title, text, subname, sets, root, remote. Okay. So I'm just thinking, I'm nervous about, like, we might be able to detect that the parent ID field is here, and it will be here for seemingly any item, but I also need to check that it has a value to it as well. So type map for const key type, type map, if item of key, return type. Bounty pull cost. Okay, it's the same thing with the other types though, so this should actually work. But valid concern on my part, but this should be good. So it will be parent ID set to reply. Okay, let's clear out this garbage and try again. I was supposed to noster. Okay, cool. So reply to event. So what were we trying to see in the first place? Yes, we get the root back here. Root sub bounty paid to. Yeah, so that's a problem here. So I need to get the noster note ID from this root. So I believe I'm gonna have to add a query, sadly. I already have queries in here. Fetch item data. Yeah, and this gets called for each item that's passed in. So handle cross post gets called. Let node ID. Fetch item data. So I want to just update this query if I can. Variables ID, item ID. Or I can just call this again with the parent ID, actually. That might be a more clever thing to do. I'm not very clever, though. So maybe we won't do it. Let's do this in reply to event. So we take in the item, and we know we have the item ID. Or sorry, the item.root. So it should be if item.root. ID. And I'll probably update this code later, but this will be a good start. If so, then I'm going to say const so reply to. Actually, I'm going to say let reply to. So we're going to set this aside. We'll say const reply to item. Wait, fetch item data, item.root.id. And this should be note ID. Cool. And then I'm going to say not reply to. Fail to get parent. Yeah, that's fine for right now. Okay, sweet. So now we can put in our e tag, and e tag will simply be reply to. But it's actually not so simple. It's not so simple because if it starts with an address, then we have to format it differently and put it into an a tag. Okay. It's getting complicated. So if reply to dot includes in address, like that. So if that's the case, we need to do one kind of event, else we're gonna do another kind. We'll put this return in there. Get rid of our return null. Okay, so if it includes, this will be an A. Otherwise, this will be an E, and the E just needs to have the note ID. But otherwise, it's going to be something like this. It's going to be something like, let's go back to the spec. A tag, a kind integer, colon, 32 bytes lowercase of hex pub key, d tag value. D tag value, 32 bytes lowercase hex, the pub key. Dang, I need to see, let's go to abla.news, which has the same kind of events I have, and I want to see what their replies look like. I don't care. Cool. So this is a reply, so let's look at event data. Noster band. JSON. Okay, sweet. So tags, got a profile reply. A tag. Okay, here we go. So the event kind, what is this? And then this is the D tag. Damn. Okay, so I do have to get some different data. But what is this pub key? Is this an individual's pub key? Muster tool. This is a great little tool I like to use for going from inpub to hex. So this is the inpub. Okay, tab. Search for this. Okay, so it was his inpub because he was replying to himself. So this is an interesting problem. We might not have this data because I have the D tag and I have the kind number, but I don't have the user's Noster pub key. It's kind of not true though. It's kind of not true because we use it when they're cross-posting. Through the extension. pub key equals await, call timeout, get pub key if not pub key. Sweet. Okay, so we have pub key here. We are getting it, but, and this is, no, this is the user's pub key. We need the person that replying to pub key. So I actually think we're gonna have to pull that data from Noster. I don't see any other way to do it unless, yeah, because StackerNews only stores the note ID. Events. Let's look at let's look at my cross-posted note. So I'll go into the database and check this out. StackerNews. Okay, cool. So this will be, let's look into the items table. View and edit data all rows. And this should be the most recent item. So I can scroll down all the way to the bottom. Good Lord, how many items are here? Add a row. Can I sort by ascending, descending? Okay, maybe there's like 10,000 here. Yeah, okay, cool. Sweet, so here's our post test. Can I zoom in? Oh, cool, I can. Here's post test, so looking at the fields. What is it, third one up? Can't see the rows. Oh, this is terrible. Note ID, okay. So how is an in address created? This is nib19. Should be. Back32 encoded entities, okay. In pub, in sec, and note. No ID, example of hex public key translates to in pub. In address. Okay, in address. Relay author. And kind. For in address, the 32-bit unsigned integer of the kind big Indian. So I'm using Noster tools, I believe, to generate the in address. So we have this in address copied. Let's look at it and see how we might parse this. Let's have ChatGPT help us with this. This seems like a worthy task. So, can you help me write some JavaScript to parse out the pub key and the D tag of this in address beg32 encoded entity? Here is the spec. Let's give that a try. Pub key and the D tag, you'll need to follow the steps. Decode the bec32 mode string. We are using bec32 already. Bec32 library. Bec32. Yeah. So this is probably in noster.js. We've got hex to bec32. That's it. Decode noster address. Prefix and words from words. Ooh, this is a lot. Okay, let's try it. Just want to run this really quick. Let's open a replit. Let's do that. Open a replit and we'll just run this code. Node.js. Okay, decode noster address. Bec32.decode is not a function. You sure about that? I think we just installed it. Let's console log bec32. Decode is definitely a function. It's because I think I need to unbundle it here. Let's try that. Cool. Okay. Oh damn! I need it to be output as hex. Let's see. A tag 323 hex pub key D tag. So I need it as hex. I actually need the pub key as hex and the D tag as TF8. This is what is currently output. We need to convert these byte arrays into the desired hex string pub key of UTF-8. Okay. Yeah, it's going to cause a lot of code refactoring here. I figured I would probably run into something that I was overlooking for replies. Of course, we're replying to not non-standard, but parameterized replaceable events. So there's a lot more information to parse to be able to find these. All right, let's rerun. Sweet, this is correct, I believe. DTag 459388. And let's look up this pub key. I think I have it pulled up. 52. Let's copy this in pub, find it. Nothing found, damn. Can I see directly in my extension what Phil's key is? No, I need my profiles. Wallet setting, manage my account. Okay, this is the right guy. So this is Phil. Okay, so that is the correct pub key. That's good. And then let's double check this D tag. Yeah, cancel. So this will be the actual ID, which will be all the way over to the left. So 459388. That is correct. Okay, cool. Wow. Okay, so we're able to parse this out. Let's just bring this in here for right now, and we'll have to make this a lot cleaner later on. But for right now, this will work. Decode. I'm gonna call this decode in address. Yeah. And then we'll need Beck3 too. Okay, so if it includes in address, we're gonna say const pub key d tag. Do I really need to rebuild this the same way that I am? Can't I just throw it in? So I reply pub key. Hex pub key. Yeah, I am gonna have to do it like this. Okay, okay. So 30023 of, let's see, pub key first, and then D tag. Okay, but we actually don't even know if it's a pub key, or if it's this kind all the time, because for bounties are 30402, 3023. So those are the two different parameterized replaceable events we're dealing with here. Ooh, it's confusing. Okay, can we get the kind number out of here as well? So in address, we have the special relay author kind. Okay, say. Great, it works. Can we also get the kind number out as UTF-8? Oh, output is a regular integer. You're right, ChatGPT. I'm a little dumb for that one. Definitely gonna have to keep testing and rewriting this code for most likely. But for right now, just getting something quick down so then I can start off strong next time. Put this all in. Let's run it again. Sweet, and we get the kind number. Great. So just copy this code. Beautiful. Okay. Return result. Kind is one of the results. So even better yet, make it fully dynamic. Kind. Ooh, that's a lot of work. Okay, so if reply includes an address, that's what we do. Else, it's kind one. So reply event, fetch the root, decode the in address. Okay, let's give it a try. We've been on a huge roundabout loop here. I just want to see if it's valid. Have I cross-posted this yet? I haven't. Okay. Okay. And event creation. Oh wait, my fetch item data is not defined. Yes. Because I need fetch item to already be defined. Oh, this is inside of handle event creation. So I can't, I'm trying to reuse this function outside of the scope. So let's do this little part somewhere else. That's annoying. Yeah, because we have to use the hook here. Where is it? Yeah, right here. Use cross-poster fetch item. code is getting spaghetti. So, what would I do if I was clever? Well, since this is its own function, I think the clever thing to do would get this to work right now and then refactor it later. So since it's already in its own function, I can just kind of duplicate this lazy query inside of here. And then just kind of duplicate the fetch item data logic, which is just this try catch. Okay. Say let reply to item. Turn data item. Go down. Okay, that should work actually. Let's give it another whirl. Invalid hook call. Hooks can only be called inside the body of a function component. Am I not inside of the body of a functional component? Export default function. Is that really why? That's annoying. So, okay, let's just see where that, let's run back here. Let's see where this gets called initially. Handle event creation. This is where we figure out item type and we switch to return it. So where does this get called? Inside of the main cross poster, I believe. Then equals await. But then cross post item gets called where default. Handle cross post with use callback. No, not this one either. Item fetch ID data. I can pass in fetch item data. I can pass in the function and pass it down, but that will be pretty ugly. Let's do that for right now. Fetch item data, pass that into cross post item. Item, and then now we've got fetch item data. No. Okay. And then into handle event creation, it will also go. fetch and data. Get rid of this console log. And then only into reply will it get passed. Fetch item data. Then we'll do this again. Get rid of this. And accept it. Fetch item data. Okay, will it work? Put calls can only be called inside the body of the function. I saved it. We aren't. Oh, I still have this in here. Okay. Beg32 default is undefined. So an issue with Beg32. How are we using this in roster? We have to unpack it all the same. Okay, getting further. Here we go, beautiful, okay. To sign a short note, can I cross-post this reply? Let's confirm. Sweet. Let's go back here and refresh and see if there's a reply now in this article. You won't let me see it? I see there's a reply, so it detected it. That's annoying. Okay, let's go to PlebDevs. /A, and I'll put this in. Beautiful. Okay, it shows up. Nice. Okay. Good lord. Okay, we just cross-posted our first reply. And it seems to work. That was super complicated. I guess just to like walk back all of this data that we are encoding. Not the most elegant solution here, but we've got it. So if it includes int address, we have to parse out the kind, pub key, and d tag, and then that's our reply in the a tag. Otherwise, we just return e tag with a regular reply to, where this reply to would be a note ID. Okay, so that's, that is good. I'm glad. I just wanted to get at least one reply on Nostr and see that I could pull it up on another client, and the other client is validating it the same way. So that's beautiful. So that's our ugly working example right there. And so now from here, all I really need to do is refactor the code and then do a shit ton of testing. Make sure it works as expected. So not too bad of a time. Had a much worse time actually just getting the app running. Sweet. Accomplished my task. Okay, let's add everything. Just double check our code here. Yep. Yeah, we had to do that ugly shit. No console logs left behind. Just my code I gotta deal with. Cool. Let's commit. Cross post applies to kind 1 notes or in address notes. Yeah. Seems about right. Git push. Boom. There we go. Ship some code for the day. All right. Got in the zone. Tons of Nostr clients open here. But beautiful. So we got that working. We read through our top dev stories. So another successful Monday. Thank you for tuning in if you did. I'll be back later this week with some more live coding and then a workshop this weekend. So keep an eye out, and thanks as always for watching.